Procrastination is an emotion, and here's why. Picture yourself standing at the edge of a diving board, and you're standing on the edge, peering deep into the end of the pool. You know you need to jump in, but something holds you back. That hesitation, that moment of pause, that right there is the emotion of procrastination. It's that moment or that feeling that comes when there is something we really need to do, but just can't quite carry it through. And in this example, it's not that you cannot swim, and that's not the reason why you're not jumping, but you're dreading that feeling of all that cold enveloping your body. I mean, this is just one example, but you and I both know that there are tons of examples of procrastination in our day-to-day lives. Heck, I was even procrastinating making this video for the longest time because I kept thinking about how's the right way to go about it, what would be the next thing. And so I realized, you know what, actually let's start with making a video about the emotion of procrastination itself. Dr. Tim Pychyl is a procrastination expert, and he was one of the first people to really describe how procrastination really isn't about a lack of discipline or a lack of motivation per se, but it's actually an emotional reaction to any task at hand. When we procrastinate, we're not just being lazy or undisciplined, but we're trying to avoid that discomfort associated with certain tasks, and we're really just trying to protect ourselves. Kind of like how we procrastinate having a difficult conversation with somebody. It's not that we are avoiding that person, we're avoiding the feeling that comes along with putting that relationship in jeopardy with that difficult conversation. So that's why procrastination is kind of like an emotional defense mechanism. It's our brain's way of protecting us from immediate emotional discomfort, and it's our brain's way of keeping us as safe as possible. Because if you don't go out and fail at the task, you don't have to experience that feeling of failure if you don't do the task at all. But you see, just like how important, difficult conversations need to sometimes be had with the people in our lives, avoiding those difficult conversations would never make a relationship deeper. And in very much the same way, procrastination doesn't resolve any underlying issues. It's kind of like putting a band-aid on a leaky pipe. It may hold for a while, but eventually you're going to have to face the problem. And unfortunately, this time with less time than you had in the first place, worsening your stress and anxiety around the task and worsening your emotional reaction or procrastination towards it. So that's why understanding procrastination as an emotional response can be really liberating, because it allows us to address the root of our problems. It allows us to understand that it's all about our feelings towards the task at hand. By changing your mindset to the task at hand, you can often change your narrative around the task itself, and suddenly the task may not be as daunting in the first place. And the most useful way to do this is, instead of saying, I have to do this or I have to do that, instead, why not reframe that sentence into saying, I get to do this or I choose to do this. And suddenly you go from a place of obligation to a place of choice, which puts you back into the driving seat, giving you more control and a smaller sense of anxiety. So next time you find yourself hesitating at the edge of the pool, remember that it's not about your ability to swim or not. It's about taking a deep breath and reframing your mind to trust yourself with the task at hand, understanding that this task is something you've chosen, and embracing that initial shock of the cold water plunge, knowing that as soon as you start, you'll soon adjust and find your rhythm. And speaking of rhythms, why not click here to learn about ultradian rhythms, a productivity hack I'm sure you've never heard of. Or otherwise, subscribe and I'll see you on future videos.